Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, starring Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Emily Van Camp, Wyatt Russell, Aaron Kellyman, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Florence Kasumba, Danny Ramirez, Georges St. Pierre. I don't know if I said that right, please forgive me. Adipero Odoy, I don't know if I said that right either, please forgive me. Daniel Bruhl, and Don Cheadle, directed by Kari Skoglund. Now, before I get into this review, I must say, because of Black Widow being pushed to July, I put that instead of this show in the beginning of where it's leading up to, because honestly, I don't think the TV would really. Well, it is a TV miniseries, but I don't think it really matters as much. But let's just get into this, and we'll see if it's good or maybe bad or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Sam Wilson, returned by Anthony Mackie, turns in the shield Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, gave him at the end of Avengers Endgame at the Smithsonian Museum. As Sam goes on a mission with a soldier named Torres, played by Danny Ramirez, where some bad guys led by Patroc the Leaper, returned by Georges St. Pierre. Remember him from Captain America, the Winter Soldier? I do, because I've seen that movie quite a few times. Hijacks an airplane as Sam comes in and fights Patroc while rescuing a soldier as the bad guys escape, and Sam saves him thanks to his alter ego, the Falcon, with his metal wings. And this action at the beginning is well done. I'll admit it, as it's a fun kick-ass ride, and it grabbed me into the show. In Tunisia, Sam has a drink with Torres when they're greeted by a couple of Avengers fans and thanks them for getting his wife back from the snap that Thanos did in Infinity War. I do like Sam this time, as he has a bigger role than in either Captain America and the Avengers movies. In Washington, D.C., Sam holds a funeral for Steve Rogers as he gives the shield to the Smithsonian, like I brought up earlier, and Rhodey, returned briefly by Don Cheadle, is there as Sam leaves it in the museum, and talks with Rhodey as Rhodey asks why he gave up the shield away, and Sam felt like it belonged to someone else. And I like the quiet scenes between these two, as it makes sense for the Avengers reasons. Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, returned by Sebastian Stan, dreams of his past as his nightmares, and he sees a shrink for it, and which is a nice way to recover from when he worked for Hydra and goes after people who used to work for Hydra, as he doesn't kill anyone, but helps the authorities get some Hydra men and women arrested for their pasts and stop fighting people, as he's struggling with being the Winter Soldier, as he's free from his Hydra days, and visits an old friend named Nori, who I'm leaning to believe is Japanese, as they have lunch and the friend and Nori gets Bucky a date, which is a cute little scene, and Bucky goes on the date. And it goes badly, as Bucky isn't ready for that sort of thing, as she brings up widowers and he walks out, and that date scene is weird to me right off the bat. Meanwhile, Sam visits his sister Sarah, played by Adipero Odoy, forgive me if I said that wrong, and her two sons, as Sarah wants to sell the boat with their mom and dad's name on it, and Sam doesn't want to sell it because it's their parents' legacy, but he wants to fix it up. Sam and Sarah tries to get a loan for their boat at the bank and their parents' property, as the bank declines their loan, while Sam fixes the top of the boat. In Switzerland, Torres searches for the leader of these masked vigilantes who I'm guessing are called the Flag Smashers, led by Carly Morgenthau, played by Aaron Kellyman, as they're very strong because they got super soldier powers, which is an interesting twist for this show. Torres calls Sam in about the Hand, or the Flag Smashers, let me rephrase it as, and their powers, And Sam sees on the TV there's a new Captain America for America, and I'll talk about him on the next episode or segment. But I, as well as Sam, thought, really? The next episode starts with the new Captain America, John Walker, played by Wyatt Russell, who I don't like this guy as the new Captain America because he seems stubborn and arrogant, and he reminds me of the Punisher, particularly later on. And I'll get there, but the actor Wyatt Russell, I don't really mind as an actor, as I reviewed him a couple of times in 22 Jump Street and This Is 40. Both films I did not like. But I don't remember him in movies like Overlord and Everybody Wants Some. But he goes on TV to get interviewed and becomes the new Captain America as his partner Lamar Hoskins and becomes his sidekick, I'll say. And like Bucky, I'm rather not so good with the choice of John Walker as Captain America. And comes with Sam to fight off the Flag Smashers as he jumps with Sam, and he makes it to the ground while Sam flies, and Bucky walks to the building. And it was funny when Sam tells Bucky his stare is creepy, which did make me laugh as they argue at first while on the mission to stop the Flag Smashers. And Bucky encounters Carly and pushes him off the truck, and they find him on top of the truck. And Sam joins in on the fight, and so does John, let's call him, because I refuse to call him the new Captain America. At this point, and Lamar to fight Carly as she's kicking all sorts of ass, as Sam and Bucky get out of the fight, and Lamar gets pushed off the truck, and so does John, which was rather pretty funny. Sam and Bucky walk back together as they refuse to work with John and Lamar, as they offer them a ride as they talk about what they're dealing with. And these scenes are, when they talk, is good writing as they catch up with Avengers fans who haven't watched Endgame since theaters, like myself. I haven't seen it since theaters, to be fair. Carly arrives at their destination as they eat and sleep and are being called Robin Hood of their times, which is an interesting title, to be perfectly honest. Sam and Bucky go on a plane as Bucky tells Sam, let's take the shield back, but Sam says no to Bucky as Bucky takes Sam to Baltimore to meet Isaiah Bradley, whom Bucky met in 1951. And like Bucky, he was in the Super Soldier with Hydra all those years ago. As Bucky brings up the super soldiers, and Isaiah goes hysterical in a in a funky kind of way, let's say, and kicks them out of the house as the cops, come by and arrest Bucky for missing therapy. And my problem is, how could you arrest someone for missing therapy, which doesn't make any sense? Dr. Rayner comes by to get Bucky and Sam going into therapy together, and stares at one another and say something to each other about their issues, which was pretty funny, as well as after that, John will take them out of prison and want to work with Sam and Bucky, but they refuse as Carly and the Flag Smashers take off rather quickly as one of them sticks behind and arrests them as Sam and Bucky reluctantly get Zemo, returned by Daniel Bruhl from Captain America Civil War, out of prison, which is a choice that will continue on very well in the next 4 episodes. John and Lamar break into a place in Munich, Germany to find Carly, and John gets spat on his face. Meanwhile, in Berlin, Germany, Bucky asks Zemo to help him and Sam out on getting the Flag Smashers, and Sam is reluctant about it as he brings up some of the events from Captain America Civil War, like King T'Chaka was killed by Zemo, and tried to frame Bucky for it, which is a nice callback from Civil War. Zemo appears in front of Bucky and Sam, and they have no choice but to take him with them as they learn he was rich when he was living in Sokovia, and their first stop is Madripoor, I think I said that right. And I love the shots in Madripoor as it feels funky in a good way. But the other shots in Germany are stunning. They get in a car with a contact will arrive at some club as Bucky is kicking ass in order to see his contact that he's heard of by reputation, and asks the contact for information about where the Flag Smashers are for a price of the Winter Soldier. And Sam answers a phone call from Sarah and are exposed as they get a price for their bodies, and they make a run for it as they're bumped into by Sharon Carter, returned by Emily Van Camp from the 2 Captain America movies, and hides them in her place while she has a party at her place. And while the party's going on, Sam and Bucky are no fun during that scene, while Zemo has a little fun. And I love his dance, as it's hysterical. And it's being mocked by YouTube, but not as mocked as the one from Spider-Man 3. That was even stupid. This is done greater than Spider-Man 3, in my opinion. Sharon leads them to a factory filled with boxes near the sea and goes downstairs to meet a doctor who created the Super Soldier program, and they have company as Sharon beats the crap out of the bad guys while Sam, Bucky, and Zemo get information out of the doctor, as we learn Carly stole some potions, let's say, to help save a friend of hers, as Zemo shoots the doctor, and they get attacked by more bad guys as Zemo runs out and grabs a car to get them out of there. And the action did feel pretty rough, but the car was convenient. And I thought the joke when Sam asked Bucky to move his seat up, and Bucky says no. Not as funny as in Captain America Civil War, but Bucky says, "Can you move your seat up?" And Sam goes, "No." But it was nice to get that callback from that scene in particular. But the cargo box scene was filmed in an interesting sort of way. They get back on the plane without Sharon as they go to Riga, Latvia? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Please forgive me. Which is where Carly is, and when they arrive, Bucky goes for a walk and sees a Wakandan equipment, as it is the warrior Ao, played by Florence Kasumba, who was also in Captain America Civil War and Black Panther, and I was kind of happy to see her, to be honest. 6 years ago, in Wakanda, Bucky practices on releasing the weapon out of him, and he is successful, and he's free, which is a nice callback for in between Captain America Civil War to Avengers Infinity War to sort of Black Panther. Bucky talks with Ao about how he let Zemo go free and with them, and gets back from his walk and gets in their hotel room and talks about how they plan to stopping Carly, as well as the Flag Smashers. They go find Carly as Bucky and Sam ask around for Danya Demure. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And Zemo hands out a Turkish delight, and he gets information on where the funeral is at, and doesn't tell Sam and Bucky until they get back to the hotel. And Bucky asks what a little girl told him, and Sam asks Sharon for another favor, as Carly and another Flag Smasher go to a cemetery. And I like seeing Wakanda briefly again after Infinity War, but the scenes are very intense. John and Lamar find Sam, Bucky, and Zemo again and want to capture Carly, while Sam wants to talk to her alone. And Sam goes in the funeral and finds Carly there, and Sam talks with Carly after the funeral and tries to talk her out of killing millions of innocent people. As John and Lamar barge in to stop talking and to take action his way. And this is part of the reason why I don't like him as Captain America, because he forces things too far. And he lets Carly escape, and Zemo goes free because of his arrogance and stupidity. And Zemo shoots her in the stomach and crushes the super soldier serum. And John is so stupid he knocks out Zemo and takes one of the bottles of the super soldier serum. And now Carly is screwed, while Bucky knows something is not right about John. And I do as well, as he barges into their hotel room, barks his mouth, and fights with Ao, and another warrior from Wakanda wants to collect Bucky, or more Zemo, but Like John does, and Zemo manages to escape, and Ao takes Bucky's arm off, but not permanently, as he can put it back together. And John has his ass handed to him, and this is a stupid Captain America for the same reasons I've explained before and won't bring it up again. Carly calls Sarah to find a reason not to kill his brother and sends her some coordinates to her. Give it to and she gives it to Sam, and as Carly is a very threatening character, as she wants Sam to come alone, but Bucky joins in the conversation, as she wants to join her at last and let her go. As John barges in once again and arrest Carly, while Bucky goes after Carly, and she escapes and joins the fight, and Sam and John and Lamar saves his life, and gets stabbed by and Lamar gets stabbed by Carly, and she runs away as John goes after her, but gets one of the flag smashers as John kills that flag smasher as the whole world saw it, including Sam, Bucky, even Carly saw it as well. And this proves my point exactly on why I don't like John Walker as Captain America. John makes a run for it with the shield that's bloodied up as he's been exposed, and Sam and Bucky comes up to John to fight him for the shield, and it'll eventually come off of John's thanks to Sam's equipment as John struggles him, and Bucky saves Sam, and they both knock out John for a while as he doesn't deserve the title Captain America, as Sam takes back the shield, and that was an intense fight scene in my opinion. Sam realizes Carly can't be found while Bucky walks away, and Torres comes in, and Sam takes back the shield to his house as John goes to court as he's no longer titled Captain America, and he yells at the court about he did their mandates as told as he'll no longer receive benefits to his job as he's approached by his wife and Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld, as she's a part of Hydra, is what I get the impression of, and she'll be in touch with John. And what is Julia Louis-Dreyfus doing here? As she's more of a comedian than something like this role. And when I saw her name in the credits, it shocked me. It shocked me to see that Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in this show. Carly wants to continue to fight while Bucky and Zemo almost shoots him, but Ao captures Zemo in Sokovia, which serves him right as he's taken back to prison. Back in Baltimore, Sam sees Isaiah as he wants to understand what went wrong with him, as he was a super soldier once and his wife died while he was in jail. And he now has nothing, which is a sad story, as I felt bad for him, and he has a good character to connect with for his arc reasons. And he shows Sam his scars, and he gives Sam the letters from his wife, as Sam wants to clear his name, and he says something like that I'll never get as far as I'm concerned, and that is, a black man will never be Captain America, which I don't find true in the comic books or in real life in general. And I'll talk about why in the next segment. Sam comes back home and helps his nephews and learns Sarah isn't selling the boat after all, because nobody will take it. And I'm kind of glad we get back to the boat, as I was wondering about that at the beginning of the show. He calls everyone but didn't expect Bucky, as he called in a favor from the Wakandans. And Bucky, after fixing a pipe, and asks Sam if he could help out, and introduces himself to Sarah in an awkward moment of the show. After the help, Bucky almost takes off, and Sam makes him stay in the house overnight as long as Bucky doesn't flirt with his sister. Meanwhile, John visits Lamar's parents and promises if there's anything they need, he'll be there, which is a nice scene to a character I do not like. The next morning, Bucky sees Sam kept the shield after the boys were briefly playing with it, and helps Sam out with some more with the boat, and helps Sam throwing the shield and catches it. And as Sam practices throwing it for hours and days, and works out as well as eventually becomes successful, while Carly hires Batroc, the Leaper, as they have an army to stop the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as she's going to attack Europe as well as New York City. As one of those flag smashers attacks the government, people in Sam prepares for battle, and John makes a new shield as all this is working well to reach the final episode, and future installments, might I add. Carly starts the attack in Manhattan as Sam flies to the crime scene, while Bucky and Sharon comes in for help. As the attack starts with the government meeting building as the flag smashers take over, and Sam comes in all dressed up as Captain America, and Batroc comes in and attacks Sam, while Bucky and Sharon split up, and Bucky gets a call from Carly, and the flag smashers put some traps on the back of the opening of the New York PD Police Department trucks. Or I should call it NYPD trucks. What am I saying? And Sharon puts a bomb on one of the flag smashers while Bucky goes after the NYPD trucks, and Sam flies away from the fight with Batroc while without as he goes after one flag smasher in a chopper, and a robot of Sam's looks for someone who could fly the helicopter and finds one and talks with her and makes her fly one after Sam knocks out the bad guy controlling the chopper, and Carly wants a war with everyone as Bucky is close to her as he fights one of the flag smashers and tries to free people from the trucks of NYPD as John enters the picture and fights with the flag smashers with the new shield he made himself at the end of the last episode, I'll say, and Bucky saves his life and fights next to him against the ground flag smashers and pushes him off the ledge to a construction site, while John beats up on Carly until she knocks him out, which was kind of funny as I do enjoy the shots of Manhattan. John tries to save Bucky as well as the people stuck in the NYPD truck as John is knocked off, and Sam saves everyone in the truck as Batroc gasses everyone in the construction site. And Carly and others escape while Sam gets Bucky and John into the underground as Sam splits up with Bucky and John, and Sharon catches up with Carly as Batroc was hired by Sharon as she shoots Batroc, and Carly shoots Sharon, and Sam catches Carly as she wants to fight him, but he won't fight back because she wants a revolution. And the flag smashers are caught by the feds thanks to Bucky and John as Sam is almost killed by Carly, but Sharon shoots her right back, and Carly dies in Sam's arms and brings her in the paramedics. And the action here works here very well, as Sam tells the government they're not terrorists, as he wants people to be people, not thugs, terrorists, or any other terrible words that comes out of the government's mouths, I'll say, as everyone sees saying it on the TV, and to do better than calling them those terrible words. And I do like Sam's Captain America uniform, and John Walker's better than I like Sam's version more than John Walker's. It's sort of better than Steve Rogers as some bad guys blow up a New York PD van caused by an old man whom I don't know who this is, but next thing you know, Valentina introduces the world of John Walker as the U.S. agent. They call him, but I know he's going to be Agent Hydra based on what I've heard before and how the character is in general. Bucky visits Yori and tells him the Winter Soldier killed his son as he's devastated, as well as Bucky, which is a devastating scene, but well acted by these actors. Sam enters Isaiah's backyard as he becomes the Black Captain America, as anyone could be Captain America, and it makes much more sense as Sam takes Isaiah to Smithsonian and sees his name inside the Captain America section as he's being honored, all thanks to Sam. And they have seafood outside where the boat is, and as the show ends with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and that was a hell of a lot of fun, as during the credits, Sharon is welcomed back to America as well as her agency, and as she walks out, we learn she's up to something, which I can't wait to find out what it is by the end by the future. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this show a 7.8 out of 10. I really liked the characters except for John Walker because he annoyed the crap out of me. I really had a fun time with this plot, including everyone's arcs, as it worked tremendously. It is well shot as far as locations are concerned, and there were times the dialogue was making me laugh, but it's a fun, entertaining time to watch, and there were nice callbacks to Captain America the Winter Soldier, Civil War, Black Panther, and Avengers Endgame, and I really enjoyed that, and I had lots of fun with this show. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and when I get back this summer, I will be getting to Black Widow. I'm not doing Loki because I know that one's going to be a series, like not mini series, but more like season series. And until we get to Black Widow, Avengers Assemble!